guys, I'm gonna do this interview from the truck. It's April 23rd. Tangled with those birds yesterday morning. They got the best of me. I came out here yesterday evening to roost. I've got two roosted, one on the other side of the road, one over here by the river, and one kind of where I was at yesterday. I'm gonna try this one by the river first. It's a little easier to get into. I can get in quiet. I'm pretty sure he's roosted on public on this side of the river. I'm gonna take that decoy with me. I know right where I'm gonna set up. It's a 5-minute walk, if that. But it's starting to break daylight, so let's get going. 7:15, I saw two pitch across the river over onto private. They looked like hens, but I wasn't sure, so I did a couple calls, and sure enough, they gobbled. They were responding really good to my calls. And then I could see him walking like east to west, and that like just on the edge of the field over there. So I figured they were gone, but I don't know if it was the same two, or because I never saw him again. Like, you know, I can see pretty well over there, so I don't know if there's like a dip right there. But then the next thing I know, I saw two coming like east or west to east, and I could tell they were definitely bigger. I'm not sure about the one that was in front. I'm pretty sure it was a tom, but the second one was definitely a tom. Now, I never saw him pitch across the river back onto this side. And I don't think I got it on camera, but probably like 20, 30 minutes ago, they gobbled a couple times, like over on this side. And it sounded like they were coming. And I haven't heard anything since then. I wish I could get a shot gobble out of them just so I knew where they were at, because part of me wants to drop back and see if that'll break them, or sneak out of here, go park at the other parking area, which is a few hundred yards down, and try to come in from that way. Pretty sure a squirrel just fell in the river. I don't know. I'm gonna sit tight for a little bit and see what happens. Alright guys, well, it's closing time again. Didn't hear anything the rest of the morning. So, jeez. But we're gonna come back later this evening and try to roost again. If they're roosted in here again, I found a trail that I can use to get right into this spot. I think they were roosted maybe 200 yards from here. You know, the thing is like I don't want to push in there in the morning and possibly bump them. But I don't know, we'll see. The more I think about it, I think those two that I saw this morning, I think they went across the road. That last time that I heard him gobble, I did a call sequence, plus I did the gobble tube, and maybe like 5 minutes after that, a car went by and honked like twice, kind of like parallel where I heard them gobble, if that makes sense. I'm not too sure that gobble call didn't maybe spook them, and they just hightailed it across, which doesn't make sense. If they were spooked, they could have just flown the river instead of running almost half a mile before they reach another set of woods. So I don't know, lesson learned. I'll probably stay away from that gobble call unless I absolutely feel like I need to use it. So let's get packed up. I'm not sure if I'll make this a video or not, or if I'll wait until maybe tomorrow, see what happens. Either way, catch you on the next one. Alright, good morning again, guys. Same story, different day. I came out here yesterday evening again. I roosted at least one of those toms. I thought one time I heard two gobbles, but for the most part I was only hearing one turkey. But he's a lot closer to this eastern axis. So I got here, tried to get here early. Thanks a lot, trains. We got about 20 minutes before it starts getting gray light. I'm gonna sneak down in here, and once I get to the wood line here, or a little bit before, I'm gonna go completely dark, hopefully. But I was scouting around yesterday after I was getting ready to leave, and I found a trail that I can get in on that doesn't have a lot of debris and crap like that I can get in pretty quietly, I think, into this spot. And there's a tree just like 10 feet from 20 feet from where I enter the woods that I can get on. So that's the game plan. Get to that tree and just wait. I'm trying to debate if I want to take the decoy or not. I don't think I'm going to. I mean, it's open in there, but it's just one less thing I gotta carry that might hit something, and it's less walking that I've got to do and less noise I'm potentially gonna make, because I think he's right there. If he's where I think he is, we're gonna be, I would say, within 100 yards, if not less of him. So let's get dressed, let's get going. Turn you back on later. Alright, well. Turkeys too mean nothing for those of you keeping score at home. I'm about sick of this frickin' traffic, man. I was unaware frickin' interstate ran through the county. Whatever, I'm just frustrated. But as you saw, got about as close to his roost as we physically could. I had no idea he was roosted there. I don't think that bird made a peep yesterday evening. And then the one that was over here to, basically my noon, I think that's the one I was hearing yesterday evening. This guy came out of nowhere. But they were gobbling good on the roost. This one that was closest to me, I heard him fly down. I couldn't see him. So it makes me think he was just on the other side of the river. It sounded like he was roosted on the other side of the river. Anyways. But he flew down, met up with his buddy. As soon as I heard him gobble, I started calling. They answered a couple times, and then it sounded like they were drifting away from me. So, I don't know, it was probably 7 o'clock. I was literally getting ready to move and make a big loop and try to get ahead of them to hopefully try and call them back over on public. Literally was grabbing my gun, and they gobbled right back over there, and I'm like, they sound closer. So I stopped what I was doing. Luckily a goose or swan, something flew by, and they gobbled again, and they were definitely closer. So I dropped back down. I don't know how much of this I filmed, but I ended up seeing them pitch across the river, maybe 100 yards away from me, onto my side, on the public side. But they were working left to right, which, man, it just doesn't make any sense. These birds are driving me crazy. I got standing water right here. I'm sitting up on this bank that goes out into a standing CRP field. There's standing water right down there that starts maybe 20, 25 yards away from me and goes west. I can't, as far as I can see right now anyways. Right out here in front of me, it's freaking dry. All they would have had to do is come, there's a perfect path for them right out there that would have brought them to within like 40 yards of me, if not closer, depending on which path they use, because there's a deer trail right here. But they ended up working, like I said, left to right. They gobbled. I stayed quiet. They gobbled again. And to me, it sounded like they were a little further. So I called facing back this way. Well, about the time I turned to look, I can see both of them. Again, 80 yards away, maybe 90. And as I saw them, they were turning around and kind of going off that way. And that's the last I've seen of them or heard of them. So I don't know if they saw me turn back around. And now I don't know what to do. Sit here and think about it. Alright guys, well, guess what time it is? That's right, quitting time. Never heard anything. I mean, I like this area though. You can see it sits up higher than the rest. Well, than this side. I mean, it's 100, 150 yards long. Maybe 20 yards wide. So this would definitely be a good spot to remember. Because, man, I can just see them in here strutting. But I'm going to work back the way I came. I'm going to see if I can find a spot to get in to these woods. Kind of where I saw them that last time. Or somewhere where I think they might fly down, even though they flew down on private this morning. So, had a deer walk within 3 feet of me. It ain't never that easy during deer season. But we're gonna get out of here. Hope you liked the video. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. And, we'll catch you on the next one.